Hi everyone. We'll start in a couple of minutes. It's 11. So shall we wait for a couple of minutes?
So I leave it to you, Deepa. You decide, and we can get started. I'm ready. I think there are a couple of Facebook comments also.
Good morning, Mridula.
Yeah.
Mr. Anthony, good morning.
So Deepa, Mr. Padala also says you can start, so we can
Good
probably
morning,
start.
Kerala sir. Good morning, Mr. Amit. Good morning, Mr. Raju. Good morning, all of you. I am Deepa from Roots Collegium. I head academics for them. And as you all know, the legal profession is observing a lot of expansion in the present scenario, and India is seeing a steady rise in the number of law aspirants. So today, as usual, Roots Collegium is back again with prominent speakers who can talk and guide us about various careers. And today we have with us Mr. Naresh, the CEO of Abhyas Law Prep. And let me introduce you to all of him. He is the gold medalist from the NIT Warangal, and he's done his MBA from IIM Bangalore. And I must not forget one very important thing about him is he's been selected as one amongst the top 10 who has been identified in the whole country in the year 2017 when our honorable Prime Minister has asked India for a digital development, and he participated in giving his inputs and has won to be one of the top 10 in the quiz conducted by the Government of India. So, hearty welcome to you, Naresh sir. So, welcome to Roots Collegium Group, and we are very happy to have you with us on our panel today. And we request you to guide us with what are the different law entrance examinations available for the students which can help them. And we also came to know there is a decent change in the structure of exam. So kindly guide us on those areas. So I give it to you, sir.
Thank you, Deepa. Thank you, and thank you, Roots Collegium, for having me here. I look forward to kind of helping you and helping the students in the best possible way possible. Yeah, please go ahead. We can do the questions. Yeah, you can ask me questions. Yeah.
Yeah, the first thing is, sir, as I asked you, what are the like the common law admission test, whatever is there, what we call as CLAT. So, for how many universities it is applicable? It was previously 18, so now the number has increased to uh,
So I
20.
think 22 it is currently. Let
20.
me explain because see, for the benefit of your viewers and listeners, let me kind of clarify this. National law universities in the mold of Indian Institute of Technologies or any national institutions, these were established around 1995. The first NLU was in Bangalore. The second NLU we have in Hyderabad, Nalsar, and currently there are 22 NLUs that are like operational or that are being taking admissions. These 22 national law universities, all of them take their admissions through the single exam called CLAT, Common Law Admission Test, that's conducted every year in the second Sunday of May. Till last year, the number of aspirants is around 70,000 applicants were there for this 22 NLUs. While the number of seats would be around 2,500 for these 22 institutions, the number of aspirants is around 70,000. You'll be surprised that when this exam actually got started in 2009 for the first time. Please understand that 2009 is the first time CLAT happened. But Nalsar, NLSU Bangalore were taking admissions through their individual exams. But in 2009, what happened is all the NLUs, by the time there are 6 or 7 NLUs, all of them have come together and started conducting common law admission tests. That's how the term common law admission test has come in. So these institutions have started the exam in 2009-10, and during that time, the number of aspirants was around 10,000, 12,000 only. If you see from 2010 to 2020, the last decade, the number of aspirants has become 6 to 7x. That's what I would want to kind of bring to the notice of all the students and parents probably. So you also have to understand that the number of aspirants has gone up. Similarly, the number of institutions have also gone up. Easily, we can say the number of NLUs have doubled up in the last 5 to 10 years. That's what I can say. Yeah.
So the more development, more legal help.
Yes.
So India is developing, so need more legal support, need more lawyers. Sir, we also came to know that the year 2000, CLAT 2019 examination pattern, which was conducted, and now the pattern for the year 2020 has changed.
Yes.
Is the viral talk amongst the law aspirants. So what are the major changes which have happened in the examination pattern? Can you explain, sir?
Deepa, this is a very, very pertinent question for those of you writing the exam this year and probably even the coming years. This pattern change has been announced. There was a rumor around this in December, and finally we got it out end of December, beginning of January through notification. There's a very huge change. I would say the pattern change is big. We've had pattern changes for CLAT over the last many years, but they're more symbolic changes. We had CLAT gone online, then CLAT came back offline. A lot of things happened like that. But for the first time, we had a very big change, and this year it's a very big change in the sense that instead of having 200 questions, please note earlier the number of questions that CLAT had was 200. Now the number of questions would only be 150. First big changes. Number of questions have drastically come down. They have come down by 25%. Right. In the same time, number of questions have come down. Automatically, you can expect the questions difficulty to go up. Here, when I say the question difficulty is not in the contextual or not in the conceptual, but more in the contextual. Earlier, what used to happen is we had 200 individual multiple choice questions and very few paragraph based questions. Yes, within reading comprehension, within some parts of legal, we still have a paragraph, but most of them, for example, general knowledge, 50 questions, all of them were 50 multiple choice questions, individual questions. But now what CLAT committee has said very clearly is, CLAT consortium has said is, this time the pattern is completely passage based. As in, all the 150 questions would be kind of divided into passages, around 30 odd passages, each passage having 4, 5, 6 questions depending on the different areas. So in a way, you can say that students have to kind of now be very, very good at reading passages very quickly. That is a big difference between 2019 exam and 2020 exam. The areas tested is same, the kind of concepts tested is same. There's no big difference, but the big difference is ability to kind of contextualize a given data, given content, given passage, and then answer the questions is what is a major difference between earlier years and this year.
Okay. So a student must be having a very good control or knowledge of English to read the passages, what you meant to say. Yes. So what if a student is from some school? There are different boards in our country, sir. We have CBSE, we have SSC boards, we have IB curriculum, we have different boards, ICSE. So there are some curriculum wherein English is not given so much of, it's not a pivotal subject or maybe considered as the main stream subject. So what will happen to those students who have not done their English as their prima facie subject? What will happen to them?
Deepa, the answer will only have to be given by CLAT consortium. But what I can definitely say is, a few years back, when UPSC also has changed, in 2015, UPSC had made this we had CSAT, right? The same question came there. People then the government had to kind of say CSAT is only qualifying. It is not going to be the marks are not going to add towards your ranking, etc. But I believe CLAT being a profession, people who are trying to take CLAT are going to get into legal profession. Legal profession is all about making sense out of a huge amount of data. I think that's what they were trying to aim at. Let's be very clear. Even before this year, CLAT was still English based. All the 200 questions were English based. So there's not big change there. But what is needed now is someone who has the ability to kind of read things fast, that is the big difference. I would not say English suddenly has gone big this year. No, English was there even last year. Please understand, there is a section completely called English comprehension. 40 questions. There's still logical reasoning. There's still legal reasoning. All of them are based on English only. But the big difference is English as a subject, like you said, among different boards, state boards, central board, and international boards. I think the big difference is not the subject English or the kind of questions asked, but the amount of importance or the way that is being dealt is very important. See, at Abhyas Law Prep, we have found something very, very interesting. As you would know, Deepa, Abhyas Law Prep, we have various programs. We do programs, coaching, we do help institutions do coaching inside. A lot of these things, we have found something very interesting. More than the board, we have students who have come from state board succeed, whereas sometimes central board students might not succeed. Generally, I agree central board students have better command on English because they're more from metropolitan areas than the rural district areas. But having said that, what we found is it is not about which area you come from. I have seen students who come from districts, sometimes Guntur, sometimes Warangal, but these guys have had great command on English, not because of the school. Let me tell you, not because of the board. Which board you go to, which school you go to makes less of importance, but what is very important is the kind of teaching, the kind of teachers. I'll tell you why. If a student has habit of reading books, the book reading is a habit that would put someone at a great state when it comes to CLAT kind of exams. If someone doesn't have a great reading habit, you're someone who has kind of, whichever school you go to, you might have gone to an IB school, you might have gone to a CBSE school, but you are someone who kind of makes from exam to exam, you just want to hang over there. Believe me, CLAT kind of exams are not easy. But someone who is even from a state board, but generally the parent, the teachers from the school or the parents have created an atmosphere where reading is made an inherent habit. Believe me, that student will do great in these exams. I've seen students who have cracked CLAT in my own experience of the last 10 years. So 2009, we have been in this thing. And we have seen students who have cracked CLAT exam within 1.5 months also, within a short span of time. There are students who could not crack the exam in spite of putting 2 years of effort, because this is a skill-oriented exam. This is a very, very skill-oriented exam, unlike IIT or NEET, because JEE or NEET is more knowledge-oriented exam. There's a clear amount of syllabus that they need to kind of do well, and they prepare from 6th standard and they do that. But when it comes to exams like common law division test or our own UPSC CSAT, right? These are all skill-based tests. That's why it's not very easy for students to kind of do a very big jump in a very short span of time. They need to focus on the skills. That's a fundamental difference, I would say.
So there comes the hint from you that when the student has to crack the law entrance exam, the student must be getting habituated to learn to reading, to more of reading. Reading helps. So that's a hint there to all of you. So, sir, I would request you to kindly let us know what are the areas of testing, like what are the contents of the CLAT examination, what are the major topics which will be tested, and what will be the number of questions? You said the questions have also gone down from 200 to 150 questions now. So in which area they have done that reduction, and what is the present scenario now?
Deepa, I think this is probably a reasonably understood situation for many students, but I'll still try to bring it down. See, we had 5 sections in CLAT, and that has not changed. Let me kind of take one section at a time and explain the things. The most pivotal section of CLAT exam is legal reasoning, right? Where students are being tested on their ability to understand legal nuances. Please understand, they're not testing students on how much legal knowledge they have even before, because these are trying to get into legal field. It's not that they've already done, right? So, but they have a legal ability, legal reasoning section. Earlier, in 200 questions, 50 questions used to come from legal reasoning. Please understand, 50 out of 200 used to come. Now, it is going to be around 35 to 40. Please understand, unlike earlier years where 200 questions we had clearly divided into 5 sections, this time, I cannot give you a ballpark number because they give you a range. Why am I saying 35 to 40? Please understand, they're not individual questions. They are passage-based questions. Because they're passage-based, what happens is the passage, they might end at 36, at 37, 38. So I'm saying that's why I'm giving a range. So legal is going to be 35 to 40 this year. unlike 50 earlier year. Then come to GK. General knowledge is the other big section. 50 questions in earlier. So together, legal and GK were 100 questions out of 200 last year. Now, even in 150, together they are between 75 to 80. So 35 to 40 in each of them. GK will also have 35 to 40. So 75 to 80 questions. You say almost half of it is still there in legal and GK. Only difference is it is not going to be single questions. They are going to be passage-based questions. That is a fundamental difference between last year and this year. The third area I would kind of say is the English comprehension, English language and comprehension. There they kind of test you on ability to kind of reading comprehensions, para summaries, and grammar, etc. But these days the focus is a lot more on reading comprehension. That's what I can say. Earlier it was 40 questions out of 200. Now that is going to be around 30. You can say 28 to 30. That's what you can say for these legal, around 30 plus 30 plus or minus 28 to 32, I can say. The fourth section that I want to talk about is logical reasoning. Logical reasoning is one section where they kind of test students both on non-verbal as well as verbal reasoning. What I mean by verbal reasoning is critical reasoning, statement-based questions, statement assumptions, strengthening, weakening, those kind of areas. And they also had questions on analytical reasoning, that is non-verbal reasoning, which is more on puzzles, which is directions, coding, series, etc. So these areas were 40 questions out of 200 earlier. Now again they are 28 to 32, 30 plus or minus. If you see what was 50 earlier has become 37 to 40, what was 40 earlier has become 28 to 32. You can understand that. And the last section, which earlier was the section that probably is detested, I have to say that, not for a heavier word, but most of the CLAT aspirants do not enjoy that, is quantitative aptitude mathematics, as they call it. This time also they have quantitative techniques, same section. Earlier the number of questions was 20 out of 200. Now it's going to be around 15. So it is very much in the same range, please understand this. And one big difference with quantitative techniques section is, unlike earlier year, one other big addition to what they have done this year is, they clearly said we do not want to ask questions directly in a mathematical question format, but we want to give it through some charts, some data, some kind of data interpretation. So something from CAT. So that's one difference from earlier years. So they are not going to give questions directly, but they probably give questions, mathematical questions, through a chart, through a graph, through a table, through a kind of data summary. That's one fundamental change from last year to this year. If you've understood, Deepa, the weightage has not changed, the sections have not changed, the areas have not changed. Please understand this. That's the fundamental thing. The big difference is reading. And here I want to kind of bring to your notice, a lot of times, I know I'm kind of going back to question 1 and question 2, I'm hopping because they're connected, Deepa. So I want to tell you, reading is one fundamental area. Reading was important even last year, let me tell you this. But the thing was, earlier it was about speed. Can someone read 200 questions within 2 hours? Now the number of questions to be read has come down to 150 out of 200. But please understand, there are 28 to 30 passages that one has to read in those 2 hours. Now that cannot happen with students not having great reading capability, and that's what we have been, as Abhyas Law Prep. Apart from the legal CLAT material, etc., we have. We ask students. These days we are in this Corona times. We are staying home. We are doing isolation. A lot of things we can do. A lot of things online. But one thing I want all students to keep in mind is, identify anything you can do with respect to improving your reading comprehension. Don't stop at reading. Go to reading comprehension. The second word is very important, comprehension. Not just reading, you need to comprehend fast. Not just read fast, comprehend fast. We have actually created an app called ReadMark. For the last 2.5, 3 years, we have been using it for our students. And we found it very useful, because what we do is we kind of ask students to read a fiction, non-fiction. We kind of give out a book, and based on the book, we kind of conduct a test end of the month to kind of say how much they've understood. Based on that, we create a read mark index. We call it, what's your read mark? Just like a chess, we have their number. We kind of say, we give this, what is your this thing? So the idea is to kind of make reading, and please understand, we still focus on reading for toddlers. We are kind of talking about cartoons. We're talking about, please understand, that Diamond Comics, etc. That is going to work for early school. I'm talking about high school. I'm not talking about early school. Those kind of reading is still there. Luckily, parents have started getting Western culture, and parents start reading books to their kids on the bed, etc. That's all there for younger ones. But my question is not them. My question is someone who is 12, someone who is 13, someone who is 14, 15, 16. That 10 plus to this age is an age where actually reading has to be kind of inculcated. Because what happens is, this is the age where they're going away from education. They want to kind of, most of them, I'm not saying everyone, but most of them do not enjoy the education drive. But if you can ensure that the reading habit is inculcated in them with a measurement concept, I think comprehension can go up. That's what I want to do. Yeah.
Fantastic, sir. Very good answer. Very clear. So all CLAT aspirants, kindly note this very important information given by Naresh sir, that reading has to be continued, sustained, and retained, and it's a lot more required than previous law exams in the previous years. Sir, then I have one more question is, Last year, the qualifying mark for 2020 for 200 marks was something around 150 or 160.
Yes, you are right. So,
What is your prediction for this 2020 cutoff uh, s- cutoff score, sir? What can be that cutoff there? What is the number which can reasonably give a decent score for the student to get into the NLUs?
yeah. So, Deepa, I would want to take your question and divide it into two parts. Firstly, the cutoff that we're talking about now is going to be, say, we are going to talk about top 5 NLUs or any of the 20 NLUs, right? If we kind of talk about that, right? The cutoff, first of all, the 150 or 160 that you mentioned was not for all NLUs. It's not even for top 5, 6 NLUs. It was for the top 2 NLUs. Nalsar, the cutoff was around 160. Okay, top 3 NLUs was 150, 160. If students have actually scored 135, 140, they could get any NLU last year also. But let me tell you, this is probably one of the easiest exam ever in the history of CLAT. 2019 CLAT paper was among the easiest papers of CLAT. Let me tell you, even before the new pattern, even the old pattern, 200 questions pattern, we have seen there were years where the paper was very tough, like 2015. The cutoffs were as low as 115, 120. I've seen students getting into Nalsar with a 115, 115 score also in 2015 CLAT. But at the same time, there are years like last year, 2019, where the paper is so easy, you require a 160 to get into Nalsar. Nalsar is second most best ranked law school in the country. I'm just giving that. So this is one understanding I want to give you. So I'm saying that 150, 160 need not be held as a benchmark. Having said that, yes, 150 plus is generally the score that we suggested students if you have to go into top 3, top 5 NLUs. In general, when it was 200. Now that number, I believe this year, being the first time in paragraph-based questions, a lot of students might find it a little difficult. I kind of confidently believe that even if I kind of project, you make an estimation from 150, 200 to 150 and do the same thing also. I think 120 would be a very good score for someone to get into top 3 law schools, be in the top 100 to be in the top 200 in the country. I think 120 out of 150 will be a very wonderful score for someone to be in the top 100, top 200 of the country and being the top 3 NLUs. In case you want to get into any of the 20 NLUs, I believe a score of 100 plus would be a good score for you to kind of get into. To crack CLAT, you would at least need 100 plus. To crack top 3 NLUs, you can target 120. So 100 to 120 should be the ideal target for students to kind of get to that thing. Having said that, this is the thing that I kind of estimate as a teacher in this field. What I have seen this year, particularly last 6 months, because we've got the notification only in December, we have been conducting a lot of the new CLAT pattern based test, and we have found students, it's not very easy to cross 100. Let me tell you, Deepa, I've seen students get stuck between 80 and 100. A lot of students get stuck in 80 and 100. They're always asking me, sir, you say 100 plus, you say 120, but we are stuck in 85, 90, like that. I tell this 80 to 100 scores that are there for students right now will become 100 to 120 when it comes to final exam, because as you go near, because we have 1.5 months, frankly speaking, we are on May 4th. Had it been the regular exam, next Sunday we would be writing the exam.
Yes.
But now that it's postponed, they have 1.5 month time more to kind of work on. Yeah, that's what.
What is the new date, sir? What is the new date of CLAT 20?
June 21st. I think this year we had three CLAT dates, not just two. We had May 10th is the actual date, then it postponed to May 24th. Now it is again postponed to June 21st. As of now, the
Right
date
now,
June 21st. Yes.
so this is an offline test now.
Yes, this is an offline test. It's a paper-based test. People, we don't know. See, I'll be very honest. CLAT went online for a couple of years and then came back offline. I thought that was a bad decision. But having said that, I mean, they thought because the number of aspirants is not too high, because the number of takers is only 70,000, 65, 70,000, because applications are 70,000 and probably 2-3,000 do not write after applying, around 65, 70,000.
Yes.
And they felt for that doing offline is okay. When it crosses 2 lakhs, they kind of said we'll go and join NTA, National Testing Agency, and do an online. But with the Corona situation, I'm hoping, I hope maybe they might see an online, they might see, but we can't say. In the last minute, I don't know how comfortable they'll be announcing online.
Yeah,
But
looking at the COVID situation, we do not know what is going to happen.
but people still have to. We ask students to focus on offline preparation as well as online both. Yeah, right.
Sir, we have, apart from the common law admission test, we have some other examinations for law entry, like LSAT and all, which has become very famous, I think, which are also taking its own fame nowadays. So, can you throw some light on what are the different other examinations which are conducting these law entrance examinations in our country? A few we have heard about, like LSAT and Symbiosis, but not many we have an idea. Can you please give us that information on what are the other exams which take the students, the law aspirants, to opt for? What is the plan B option if they have in their mind, if they have to take?
Deepa, this is one question. I think things have changed a lot in the last 5 to 10 years, right? I tell this to students from any career plan, not just law, whether it is engineering, law, medicine, or anything like that. I tell students one simple thing: do not ever assume that one field has more opportunities versus the other. At the end of the day, I want to give you a simple thumb rule. As someone in the test prep, as someone in this career, this thing, I found the rule is very simple. If you are in the competition generally to go into good schools in any field is 1 out of 30. If you stay 1 out of the 30, that is, if you're in the top 3 to 5% in the country, you go to good school. If you're in the top 1% of the country, you go to a great school. So just to give you an idea, I'm just trying to do this because then I'll come to the exams that you're talking about. I want to give you this opportunity to kind of broadly explain this. Uh, you talk about engineering, we talk about IITs and NITs. IITs and NITs together, there are 50 odd institutions, and probably there are 50,000 odd seats, you can say. But the number of people taking the exam is around 15 lakh students. So you can say 50,000 seats on 15 lakhs is 1:30, right? CLAT, we said 2,500 seats out of 70,000. Again, the ratio is around 1:30. You can collaborate it with, you can look at it, medicine also, it will be same. So what I'm saying is, if you are in the top, if you're 1 out of 30, believe me, you're going to a great school in that particular field. But at the same time, if someone tells me engineering across India, 130 crore population of India, every year only 50,000 odd students in India deserve to be engineers, it's meaningless, right? So Satya Nadalas of the world did not come from IITs. Let's be very clear about it. He came from Manipal. So what I'm only trying to say is, every year out of this 15 lakh students, I say if you're in the top 10% of the country, if you are at least in the 1.5 2 lakhs of the country, I believe you can go to good institutions. So we have spoken about the great, but we can also talk about the good. So that 10% will have great opportunity. We have the next deemed universities are the kind of things. So in the context of CLAT, because today's webinar is about CLAT, let me kind of use law as a this thing. So apart from this top 2,000 odd students who make it to NLUs, there are a lot of deemed colleges that you can deemed universities, that exam that they have. The 5 exams, I'll say, usually we say, believe me, today every state has its own state level exam to many of them. For example, we have Telangana law set, we have AP law set, Maharashtra law set, the many like that. But at least if I talk about national level, I say the 5 exams that we can really kind of look into. The first one is obviously CLAT. The second exam that we have to speak about is IELTS. IELTS is an exam conducted by NLU Delhi. There's one NLU in the country based out of Delhi. It's still conducting its own exam. We still have to see how many years will it happen. But it's conducting its own exam called IELTS. And this is currently, like every year, it is done 1 week here and there with CLAT. Very similar pattern to CLAT, but the old CLAT, I'm saying 150 questions, and it is very similar, 5 sections, 150 questions of the old CLAT pattern. But the problem is the number of seats are very less. There's only one NLU, which only around 100 odd seats, right? Around 20,000 people across India write this exam. I want you to be clear about this, right? IELTS, the second most popular exam in the country when it comes to law of it. Third, by the way, what we're talking about is law, 5-year law. I want all the audience also to be clear. We're talking about 5-year LLB, integrated LLB. That is right after 12th, graduation plus LLB together. We're not talking about 3-year LLB. There are 100 other. I'm only talking about 5-year LLB. Let me talk about the third exam. Third exam that's very, very popular these days, in fact, is LSAT. LSAT is basically an exam that's being conducted in the same mold that is conducted in US, right? LSAT US is there. We have LSAT India too. So this is conducted. It basically has 4 sections. There's a 5th section that has been added recently called variable or experimental section. These 4 sections, unlike CLAT, it doesn't have mathematics, you can say. It's purely a couple of sections in logical reasoning, an English section, and analytical reasoning section. That's what we have. And this exam is taken by a lot of private deemed universities which otherwise are not taking CLAT. Believe me, at the end of the day, what happens is most of the institutions do accept CLAT even though they do not see it. So that's what I want to kind of clarify. So the 4th exam that I want to talk about, obviously, is Symbiosis SLAT. Yeah, Symbiosis has many. Symbiosis International University, as we all know, based out of Pune. It has 15 to 16 universities across the country, or more. I don't know. I'm not the right person, but at least for law school, what they have currently done is Symbiosis Law School, SLS Pune, SLS Noida are definitely ranking among the top 20 law schools in India. There's SLS Hyderabad, the other places, but we do not still consider them on the top league. But definitely SLS Pune and Noida are considered to be in the top 20. And this is the 4th exam that we can write. And then there are many others. I can't really. The 5th slot I can give to MHSET. I can give to a lot of other names. But yeah, these are the major exams. Deepa.
Sir, I have one more question here. I have one query from the from Ms. Reveli Supriya. Supriya, madam, good morning. She asks you one question. She says, can you please tell us how stable is legal career? Will the technology take over the career options in future? Because we are seeing so much of technology coming over, and post COVID, whether this career will be stable is her question, sir.
No, I think this is a wonderful question, Supriya. I think I'll answer this question with an analogy. I think that will be because this question I get asked regularly, not only now. I don't know how many, we all know BPO, right? We all know BPO, business process outsourcing. We know ITES, right? IT enabled services. We have heard of call center jobs. We have heard a lot of this BPO. We said, hey, when these kind of jobs came, we said, software is not just about coding. A lot of people, India has a lot of people working in BPO industry too, ITES industry too. When this industry has come up, a lot of people said over time technology will kind of take it away. Digital marketing today, digital marketing has gone up does not mean manual intervention is not needed. Even within digital marketing, a lot of jobs are created. Let me give you one more example, one more analogy. We all know code writes code these days. Code writing is also automated. We all know that. I don't know, at least those who people know, there are people not just code developers, but there are developers who are writing code which can itself write code. Code automation has come. So the idea is to kind of avoid coders. But please understand, while we are trying to avoid manual work in some way, it will open up some other skilled work. So similar to when software was developed, we had a BPO, business process outsourcing. I have seen in the last 5 years or so, there's something called LPO happening, legal process outsourcing. LPO, legal process outsourcing. So what's happening is our lawyers might not just do law, but what happens is if really the technology takes really good shape. The beautiful thing about this 5 year LLB, particularly in these NLUs at the top schools, is they are teaching international law. They're teaching students law at international level. What happens is we have UK, we have US, there will be a lot of legal process that will be outsourced to India. There will be a lot of case work, documentation work that needs to be done. In fact, Hyderabad based, there's a company called Quizlex. I would want you to research. I remember, one of my partner used to speak about that. So that was a company that started with some three employees some 5 to 10 years back. Now it's around 800 plus employees. So what I'm only trying to tell you is that when the technology goes ahead, in fact, it will improve opportunities for Indian lawyers because there will be a lot of international law work, case work will come to India. We might not go there and work. We will be able to do a lot of work in-house in India. That's what I want to kind of clarify. And a lot of people make a big mistake of assuming when we are talking about law, people are assuming we are asking people to get into litigation alone. Please understand that litigation alone is not a career. If litigation alone was a career, 5 year LLB would not have become so very popular as compared to 3 year LLB. 3 year LLB, you and I today can do 3 year LLB. We are any graduate from any field, you can go in 3 years. But 5 year LLB has got this prominence in the last decade, not because of litigation alone. You'll be surprised, Deepa. We do survey every year from Nalsar. Nalsar is the best institution in the country, law institution. Less than around quarter students, around 1/4 of the students actually go into litigation, actual law practice. You would be surprised that 75% of the students go not into the practice but into corporate law, into companies, into higher studies, into their own different things. So what I'm only trying to say is judiciary requirements are very high. While we're talking about technology, etc., believe me, we need a lot more judiciary. So I think next decade or so is going to be, see, economy develops, everything else is needed. We need, see, decisions about economy cannot be made politically anymore. We need more and more judicial decisions. Law process has to take its own course. When we say law will take its own course, how does law take its own course without having enough lawyers and enough legal this thing, right? So the idea is to kind of have legal this thing. Another important thing I want to tell you, these days I'm seeing that law students from prestigious law schools are able to get into NGO sector. At one point of time, NGOs were seen as a not a great career opportunity. But believe me, a lot of students always in the early 20s, they have this great, I want to do something good for the society, at the same time make a career out of it. NGOs at one point in time was not that, but these days NGOs also are hiring good lawyers. They're able to kind of do a lot of great work there. So I think there are a lot of opportunities, not just litigation, corporate law within the companies, and specialized laws. We have tele law, medical law, sports law, a lot of these new fields coming up. I think there are a lot of opportunities out there. We need not assume litigation is the only thing. Then anyone who thinks law for only litigation, let me tell you, that is not true.
So more development, and we need more legal help.
Yes,
we need
absolutely.
more lawyers.
Yes.
So, sir, we also know that you have been the very important person in Hyderabad who's been helping many students to get through their CLAT exams, their law entrance exams. So, can you tell us more about where exactly your branches are and how the coaching goes about? And as we are also collaborated with you, we would like to know more about you and what exactly is your modus operandi, how you go about.
Thank you for that question, Deepa. I think Abhyas Law Prep, like is a well-known CLAT trainer in Telugu states, both the Telugu states. For the last decade or so, for the last 3 years, we have been rated as number one CLAT training in Telugu states by Times of India. And we currently have multiple branches in Hyderabad. Abhyas Law Prep operates in two modes, Deepa. One is actually the coaching mode, where people actually go to their different schools, different places, and they come to us for coaching. Right? We have branches in Kukatpalli. We have branches in Secunderabad. We have branch in Warangal. We don't do CLAT in Warangal right now, but we have branches there also. We have branch in Vanasalipuram, but we don't do CLAT there. Right now, we do CLAT only in Kukatpalli and Secunderabad. And the second mode of operation, like you just mentioned, is actually do an in-house coaching to a student who is already doing their 11th, 12th with another school or college. So there, what we have is we have a program. For example, Roots. We are tying up with Roots for the coming year for the same. Where Roots is doing the Roots intermediate students get a CLAT coaching from Abhyas Law Prep. That's an example, right? But like in those lines, for example, we also have our own center of excellence. We have Gyanville Academy, where we have our own 11th, 12th along with CLAT. So just like Roots has it. So these are the two modes of operation that we have. But the third one, I would say, probably in the current COVID situation, is that we have never thought, we never really have done a lot of digital sales. But what I'm very happy to announce to all the students out here is uh, we always were ready to kind of give our students online classes, video lessons, online live lessons, online exams, etc. We have been doing it for the last 8 years. But I think with this corona situation, people understand the value of it more. And I'm very happy to say, at this point, and while we are doing this webinar, I think there are 200, 300 students who are taking live classes from Abhyas Law Prep right now. So what I'm only trying to say is, so because of Corona, I think the third division, test prep centers, test prep in integrated colleges, and the test prep online has gone big way for 2019-20. And I'm very happy to say there are hundreds of students who are not in the twin cities of Hyderabad are also coming to us from across India to kind of take CLAT coaching. So this is the third way that's happening, Deepa. I just have answered it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer, sir. And our chairman, sir, VP Padala, sir, is there with a question, sir. So, in the light of post-COVID scenario, how do you read the scenario in the domain of law? More or less, like what will be the post-COVID situation for law?
I think recently, I'm sure he would have heard about this news where Supreme Court has said we will hear cases through tele. We're going to do it electronically, right? So I think what will happen is with COVID and other situations, I'm not sure about every court doing it, but the top courts in the country slowly, I think, will have a situation if the jurists, if the judges can actually start listening to cases from far away, right? That's a big, I think if COVID has heralded that one big change, it will help a lot, because a lot of people trying to go there just to attend someone or just to attend one this thing, it's not, one deadline is not going to happen, vaida by vaida, there's this famous dialogue, right? So, like, I believe the changes, I believe I was very happy to hear this news, see this news. I just wanted this to become a reality in a big way. It has started, but it has to become big way. Because I want to give you an analogy of medical field. I'm really happy to say medical field has gone this way because of apps, Practo and other apps. They've gone this way a long time back. In fact, for the last 6 to 12 months, I have been taking some medical appointments online already for smaller issues. Like for small issues, we need not go to doctor in person, clock their space. It will be a lot easy. I think it's important for legal law field in India, law domain in India, to go remote, go tele, go social distancing. I think if that can happen isolation way, I think that's a very, very good value, because all the lawyers, budding lawyers, new lawyers have access to technology. They can do great job sitting from this thing. So I hope this next 3 to 6 months with Corona going up and down, waves going up and down, I think that will definitely happen. I see that happening already, at least in the main cases. Slowly when that happens, I think so then lawyers will not only have to get the knowledge of law, but they should be very comfortable with technology. So those who are very, very abreast with technology, they'll do great. Every field, human technology kind of disrupts. People in the field have to kind of get technology in their hands. That is where again these getting into top law schools will help, because that's where these guys will have. It's not about the school itself. I'll take my own example. You have introduced me as being from IIM or NIT. I believe it's not the brand per se, but what happens is the kind of network we make, the kind of students we meet, the kind of competition we have. What happens is it kind of shines you out in that way. So these law schools, these top schools, you need to get because of the kind of competition you get. It's as simple as that, right? So I believe this will only enable the next 5 years. The students who are getting into these top law schools will not only focus on getting the legal knowledge, but they'll also see how technology can actually help them handle law. I think that will come up in a big way. That's what I would see. Yeah.
So that will be probably an added subject in the law program very soon.
Yes, it should be. I think what I can very clearly sense is while I'm not the one on the other side of the table, while I'm this side of the table getting students prepared for law, but I also have contacts with law schools, students who are deans in the law schools who are creating curriculum, and sometimes I'm asked for advice also. What I can say is it's not new. Let me tell you, this Corona situation makes us understand it. But please understand, it was already there. We are pursuing it today, but a lot of this work is there. What will happen is, in fact, let me tell you this interesting example. For last many years, we have seen we have students who graduate from our place from 11th and 12th, the junior college. We have seen science students say Jada, the law students actually do well when it comes to internships. See, engineering students, the internships are very less. They're forced to take internships, but they take very less. I've seen law students take internships close to. There are, if they're really feverish students, if they really want to do. There's a student who has taken 10 internships during the 5-year course. That is, every semester she has taken an internship. Otherwise, in general, I've seen at least 5 to 6 internships to take. So what I'm only trying to say is the moot courts. A lot of these things are coming up, which can enable in any way be done in technical way also, right? So I'm saying technology will only make it I would not say easy, but a new dimension will be added to the law graduates, particularly in the top schools.
So all of us must be get acquainted or must be ready for judgment given at home. Judgments will be given at home.
Yeah, I would not say judgment given at home, because we hear the judgment from home. Judgment is still given by the eminent law eminence from wherever they are. But what I believe is, if a judge is sitting somewhere, lawyer is able to kind of talk from somewhere, I think that might help, and I think that's already started. But at the highest annals of the country, I think it will take time for it to flow through the top down.
Okay, sir, there is still a myth, amongst many of the parents and students that only the commerce and the other arts stream are eligible to write the law entrance exams, but it's high time we make it clear to everyone that even the science graduates and the life sciences students also can take this law entrance exam. So kindly give us more info on that and clear that myth which is existing even till today. Many of the parents come across and ask us these questions in our college. So as a person or as an expert, maybe I find that you should be able to clear this for them much better than us.
Deepa, this is one question. Believe me, I have been fighting on this from 2009, right from the time CLAT was conceptualized. I think the big difference, the big reason why this is still a myth is people do not see beyond what they see, right? At the end of the day, it's very similar to, we see bus in front of us. We're not waiting for the next bus, right? So many students who are in science, mathematics, they kind of look at engineering, and many students who are in life sciences look at medical, and they cannot think about something else. That is the real reason. It's not the reason of eligibility. Let me tell you, CLAT eligibility has nothing to do with what subjects you take in 11th, 12th. You're a BIPC student, you're an MPC student, you're an MEC student, you can write CLAT. So maths is not mandatory. Any subjects you take in 12th is not important. You can still write CLAT. That's one thing I want to say. It is very similar to many different exams, right? Within NDA, for example, maths is compulsory, but there are some parts of NDA. I'm just giving an example, analogy.
Yes.
NDA, some parts of it is science compulsory. So I'm saying at the end of the day, people make eligibility a reason for their own reasons. But CLAT, at this point in time, let me tell you, the 70,000 odd students that are writing are not purely commerce students or art students. There are a lot of science students. In fact, last few years, one interesting change we have seen is number of takers for CLAT has increased from science gigantically. Okay, so we have seen that last 2-3 years I'm talking about. I've seen a lot of students from MPC background started taking CLAT, but the irony is they start thinking of CLAT only after 12th, only after they did not get into IIT. That is a problem, but still they take it. BIPC, I agree, BIPC still has not realized. Biology students are also able to not realize, but MPC is already moved on. MPC has moved on to this, but the thing is, they do it afterwards. I for one say one simple thing: whichever subject you take. In fact, that's why I just suggest students in 12th do not take a subject which is not connected to the goal you have. If you really want to be a medico or anything in medicine, medicine need not be only doctor. Medical can be a dental, medical can these days be nutritionist. There are a lot of courses opening up in medical field. If you're serious about that, go for life sciences, right? If you're serious about mathematics, go for engineering is not the only thing. You can do BSc maths, you can do BSc physics, you can do a lot of great things. A lot of us do not know that there are ICERs and NICERs. A lot of things are coming up. But what I suggest students after 10th is, I would suggest you strongly, I would urge you strongly to take up that course that is suitable to your long-term career option. Just because everyone else is taking BPC or MPC, I'll take it. Then you'll again be, see, the problem is now you understand. After you take MPC, you thought you'll have a lot of options. After taking BPC, you thought you will have options. But then you have made yourself kueka mind, frog in the well. Babilo Kappa, what have you said? You are not able to come out of your own thing saying, hey, I'm MPC student, I'm not eligible for that. You're eligible, but you're not coming out of it. So I would rather suggest, I've told students that after 10th, please take that course that will be in line with what you want to do. In case you want to do CLAT, you want to be an IAS officer, you want to kind of do something there, I think it's good to kind of get with these courses. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Sir, do you observe any, the change, the graphical change move from engineering to various other avenues? We find many students not opting for engineering as their core subject nowadays, and we see more of them. There is a decent graphical move from the main science stream to the arts and the commerce. Do you observe that in your scenario, sir?
No, I completely agree. I think India in the last 5 years, particularly in the last 3 years, we are seeing a huge churn with respect to that. But I'll be very honest. I'm waiting for the judgment yet. I don't know. I'm on the bench. I don't want to kind of say that it's done already. It's in the way, but I'm a little concerned about it reaching a fruition, because the big reason I'll tell you, people have gone into engineering. Many lakhs of them have gone into engineering because that they'll get a job. Now that they're not getting a job there, they think they're going to other careers. Let me tell you this simple thing. At the end of the day, anyone who treats education, university education, as a degree education, as a job getting thing, they will be unhappy whether they go to engineering, whether they go to some other field. The problem is, as long as that is not understood, this will not be successful. This change is good. This change is very good. Instead of going into one career, going into many different careers, many different options. I think that's happening. That's a wonderful thing. But when the society, when the students, when the parents, when the community understands that it is not important for us to only look at a job, but probably look at beyond the job. Education is not about job, it's beyond that. I think that's when this change will be permanent. Otherwise, what happens is, when they realize this is a problem here too, they'll still again do the same thing, that hip hop. I think those who are very clear about what they used to do, they're always there, whichever field they are in. But the general, everyone getting into the bandwagon, I think it will take a little time, and probably there also, I am waiting for them to see how they'll handle disruption in whichever field they go to.
Yes, thank you, sir. There's one more very important question, as you were talking about jobs, right? So what is the job market like for a student who's finished their law? Do they need to pursue their specialization, or is the market ready for a placement for a student who's done with the law program? How is the job market right now? Is it the correct decision for a parent who's looking at a job as the final destination, choose law? Is it the right decision?
Yeah, Deepa, I think thanks for the question, and I will be brutally honest with this answer, because I do not want people to be in misconception that, see, you get into a college, you get a job. That is not going to happen. Whether it is, let me tell you, that's very clear. I think to give you a comparison also, I come from NIT Warangal, which is the topmost NIT in the country, and we'll take about Nalsar, which is the topmost NLU in the country. At NIT Warangal, at NLU, I think the placement is around 90% plus. In fact, you can say 100%, because those who are wanting a job, they'll definitely get it. Otherwise, they'll go on. That's what I would say. But please understand, the moment you go down to further NLU, down the NLU rung or other places, the placement will come down. A typical lower rung NLU might have only 50% placement. Or sometimes some other college might have lesser than 50% placement. So if you're purely looking for a job inside the campus, I think you understand that anywhere between 50% to 100%, based on which NLU you're talking about, might happen. That's one thing I want to clarify. Deepa, I'll complete and then I'll let you. I think you want to ask something. So I want to tell you that at the same time, I want people to understand, you want to go into law career, you want to get into an NLU. Please think of 5 different options. I'm telling you, job is only one option. What? Let me explain. Right. First thing, you all know, you all do litigation, right? You all do people. There are people who want to create their own practice. The first thing that you can do is, in case you can go to a senior lawyer, do junior work with them, or you can start your this thing. That's one regular thing that they do. Get a bar council. You can write a bar council exam, and do that. The second thing is, like you said, jobs, actual campus jobs. The second predominant thing that people do is getting into corporate law firms. There are law firms in India, both international law firms and Indian law firms, that are hiring from top NLUs, right? Amachand Mangaldas, Kaitan and Kaitan. A lot of these top law firms go to these top NLUs. In fact, international law firms also, they hire these people. 60% of the placements in the top NLUs is only in this, please understand. Law firms, actual law firms, just like software firms, law firms are there, right? Then the third type of job or placement that we can say is also corporate law, but not in the law firm, but in the corporate itself. For example, you need not go to a consulting, law firm consulting, but you can go into the corporate firm itself. For example, I know pharma companies in Hyderabad hire from law school in Hyderabad. So earlier, what used to happen is, any for example, just give you an analogy, just give you an anecdote. I remember 20 years back, if SBI, one particular branch had a legal issue, they used to kind of use a local lawyer to do some work. But now what's happening is, every country, for every company, every large company, MNC to small company, they're having their own legal benches. And legal benches, what they're doing is, they're hiring from law schools. They go to law school, they hire them. For example, I know pharma companies for sure hiring from some colleges in Hyderabad. I'm not even talking about top NLUs. You please understand. So what happens is, the third option that they have, right? We said litigation, we said corporate law firms, then we said corporate law within companies itself. And the fourth one that I believe that many students are also serious about is, people can actually try and get into judiciary seriously, because I believe law is the right step to get into judiciary. If someone wants to become a judge, logical, a lot of students have this option, aim right from the time they get into law. I will complete my law, do this, and then go apply for judiciary, because judiciary is seen like, just like we see public sector job as government job as the thing. For lawyers, judiciary is the thing, because once you become a judge, there's a life that is made out to you. So a lot of people go judiciary. And the fifth thing that I've seen these days happening, like I just said, NGOs, etc. A lot of alternate sectors are coming up for law graduates, where they can take up placements too. And all this is apart from the fundamental. People can, like you said, specialization. People can do LLM, people can do PhD, and they can become professors in law field itself. So any field that you get into, so these options of higher studies, research, and education, academic is there. But leaving that also, I've spoken about 5 different options for these law graduates.
Sir, after hearing all these things, maybe some of the people who have logged in today to the webinar also might be having this doubt, which I would like to generalize and ask. Like somebody, gets a thought suddenly, like, it's so an interesting subject, and what if I have to take the law exam now, and what is the age limit? Is there any age limit for that? Anybody can take the exam, or is there any prerequisites required, or is there any age limit for taking the entrance exam, or is it open for anybody who desires to take the law entrance exam can take it?
No, I think the answer that I'm giving now is more with respect to CLAT and the 5-year LLB. I do not want to generalize, because every exam might have its own eligibility criteria. What we have seen CLAT itself has done is, over the years, it has changed its criteria. Fourth, they've gone to and fro. Once they've gone ahead and created a criteria, there was an upper age limit of 21 at one point of time. Then they have removed it, etc. So I would say right now there is no particular age limit. I'm just reading out the actual thing for you. If you can give me a minute, I'll kind of give that to you for you. So, for example, at the end of the day, what happens is, for the 5-year LLB, I think you have to kind of have a age of, there's a minimum criteria of 17 years. Otherwise, after that, you do not really have a criteria. So do not worry about that. But having said that, what we have seen is 21 years, the couple of years where CLAT has put a constraint on the upper age limit also. 21 years is the upper age limit. We generally have seen students who have completed 12th do it, they repeat a year, do it. People who get into degree, any field of graduation in the first year, they do it. So typically you can say 17 to 21 is a general thing. Official eligibility is with only lower age, but they've not put anything on the upper age. That's what I want to. Yes.
There's no upper age limit, you say.
And these are things that can definitely change.
We have a question, sir, from Supriya again. She asks, what kind of skills are required for the aspirants to shine in the field of law?
Supriya, I think I'm very happy you're listening to this webinar actively and you're asking questions. First thing I want to clarify is the two things. If you are talking about skills to crack the CLAT exam, or skills to kind of do well as a legal, professional. But there are some common, some different. But broadly, I would say someone who has the interest in reasoning. Someone when you kind of argue also. Argument in the common parlance. When we say argument, it is fighting. But please understand, for a lawyer, for someone who is in legal, argument is not fighting. Argument is debating. So first thing I want you to kind of notice, students, kids who have an interest in real argument, debating is a great skill to have when you are getting into law. Not the art of not just speaking, but the ability to kind of take the nuance of reasoning. That will be the first identification we need to do for someone who really wants to get into law. The other thing that I want to kind of tell is, like I just said, we have spoken about it through the webinar. That's why I'm not wanting to. That's why, but still, I would say someone who is able to make understanding, contextualize, comprehend a large, dense text, ability to kind of gist it out, just a summary of it is a second skill. So skill about reasoning, skill about reading comprehension. These two things are the paramount foundation on which CLAT exam or legal professional will work. The third thing which I would say probably is important, but not so much before you become a legal professional, but after, is ability to communicate. See, you can still work okay. You don't have a great spoken skill. You still are okay till the time you want to qualify CLAT, do well in CLAT. You don't need the third skill. But once you become a legal professional, you have to have great communication skill to kind of do well. So this is probably true with all the fields. That's why I do not want to specifically say, but these are the things I can say are important with respect to someone who wants to do well in the field of law.
Supriya madam, hope you got the answer. Sir, now will this examination, whatever the 2020 law entrance exam scheduled in the month of June, if everything goes well, we will have the exam in the month of June. So, what is the advice from you for the students who are pursuing their 11th grade or who are in their intermediate first year, who have taken CLAT as one, choice subject along with their intermediate? What will be your advice, sir? What is that they have to keep in their mind when they are preparing for their, they will be entering into their 12th grade. They have done their 11th class. They will be entering into the 12th grade, and they have like one more year to take the final examination, the law exam. So what will be your advice to them, sir? How is the preparation going to be? What is that they have to keep in mind? Because they have a long time to go, and they can as well, adapt to the new techniques and methods which have, which you have told us. So what advice you would give to them, sir, for the 11th, who finished the 11th and who are going to their 12th class?
Yeah, Deepa, I want to kind of use this opportunity to kind of speak about not just 11th grade, those who have just completed 10, those who have just completed 11th, or those who are in high school trying to look forward to do well in 8th, 9th, 10th. So this is a common thing for those who are not writing CLAT immediately. You're talking about those who are writing CLAT in the long term, in the longer term, right? 1 year or more. So I want to tell you, apart from whatever you want to prepare for CLAT materials, etc., if you have a long time for CLAT, the two skills, only two, believe me, if you can take care of these two, your CLAT is taken care of. The two things that we ask students to do well and very seriously do is, first thing is GK, right? General knowledge. What we try and tell students is, a lot of people treat GK as answers, GK as trivia, GK as knowing answer for something. Parents kind of, schools also encourage students to know capital cities of a country, this, that, lot of stuff. GK for them is very similar to knowing something. Please understand, GK is not memorizing something, GK is not knowing something. For us at Lopias Law Prep, we ask students to understand GK means research. I mean, I have our own, we say triple R. This is a Jamana of triple R. Everyone is looking forward to triple R, right? RRR movie. So I have my own triple R for GK. The first thing I say is read, right? Then research, then retain. Read, research, retain, triple R. This is what is the mantra we use for GK. What I mean is, read a lot. When you see, a lot of times students are asked to read newspapers, editorials. Why are they reading it? They do not have an idea. Either you to grab the vocabulary, to understand the concept. But biggest thing is, reading is not just, first you to get used to it. Sometimes it's bored, crap. You will feel like sleepy. That's all okay. First, start getting into the reading habit with respect to GK. The second step is, the big step according to me, is research. I've seen a lot of students, they kind of by heart the material given to them. They try to look at the answers given to them. They read by heart. But the problem is research. You need to be a monkey when it comes to a GK. Can I say, for example, you see a question, Can I kind of go into Google? Can I go into Wiki? Can I go into research that question in many different angles? I think that is the main thing for GK. The earlier you start it, the better it is for you. You want to do it CLAT 6 months from now, 1 month from now, I'll start now, it is not going to work. You have 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I think for those who are entering 11th, 10th now, I think this is the opportunity for you to start getting in the habit of how to research. When you see a question, speak what is behind it, why this, why that, what is it, etc. See, I think I'm going to touch 40 in another year. I think the kind of research, even when I watch a television show, even when I watch a Netflix show, I think I watch a Netflix show not just for entertainment. I watch it, I have fun. At the same time, I go and look at the background behind it. For example, I'm watching Medici, recently. I'm saying it is important for us to understand not all fictional shows are pure fiction. If you watch only Saas Bahu, that is not going to help. You watch that also, you can still do research, but at least you can go watch those sitcoms, those movies which are semi-fictional. From there, you can do research. The idea is read, research, do research, research. If you can take care of research work, that's very useful. Automatically, the third thing will come, retain. Retaining will happen if you do enough research and you know how to kind of, after you do research, how to present them, associate them. That is when your ability to retain comes. This is a main mantra for GK, and this is one area that they don't really do well. And we at Deepa, for everything I'm suggesting, in the last I'm connecting to what we do Abhyas Law Prep, not just as marketing, but whether this or something else, you need to do these things. So I'm saying that, right? At Abhyas Law Prep, for example, anyone who is getting into 11th, 12th, etc., anywhere from, there's some free resources, there's some paid resources with respect to GK. Every month we give them something called monthly news board, monthly question bank. These are things that they use. They have to read from this and they have to research from this and then retain from this. So this is the first thing I would say for those who are having longer time for CLAT. Second thing I would say, this second thing is something that I've said in the beginning of the webinar also, reading, actual reading, right? Ability to English reading, right? Ability to kind of read large text, read novels, read non-fiction, whatever it is, ability to read huge novels, huge books and make sense out of it. This, again, I'm telling you, please do not do it just like apart from fun thing, measure yourself. Again, at our place, what we do is we give them a book, an e-book, digital book, and then we kind of measure them every month. So these are things, if you can take care of these two things, GK and reading, do nothing. Let me tell you, do not worry about actual class. Do not worry about what do I need to do. See, I can teach everything else. Believe me, I can teach them legal reasoning, I can teach them logical reasoning, I can teach them everything. I can teach quantitative techniques, I can teach them everything for the actual class in 2 months, in 6 months. But if you take care of these two, if these two foundations are there, you can crack CLAT within a couple of months. If you do not have these foundations, you try to do 10 years, no help. So what I'm only trying to say is, please take care of these two foundations. Read and measure, read, mark, measure your thing, read, mark. And those who are there in this, please look at the website www.readmark.in, readmark.in. That will help you how to kind of speed reading, comprehension, etc. How can you measure your reading, etc. Not just read, but measure your reading. The second thing, obviously, I said is GK. Every month GK, that you can go to our own portal, www.lawprep.in, lawprep.in. You can go there. These are two things I would suggest students to do from any age that they really think of law as a thing. The good thing is, let me tell you one more thing. The one thing that when someone asks me, sir, why don't you start just like IIT Foundation, CLAT Foundation from 6th standard? I say something very interesting. I'm interested in starting IIT Foundation also, but the problem is IIT Foundation, etc. When you prepare, at least there you're preparing specific subjects. The good thing about Law Foundation that you're talking about now is not connected to CLAT per se. Whatever you do now, it will help you. If someone wants to be an IAS officer, believe me, anyone who wants to be an IAS officer, the best foundation you can ever have is CLAT. Do not get into anything else. Prepare for CLAT, your IAS preparation is done. Because what is IAS exam going to have? IAS exam is going to have, the prelims is going to have two things, general studies and CSAT. General studies is nothing but GK. Your CSAT is nothing but CLAT, other 4 sections, English, reasoning, mathematics, all other 4 sections are combined and put in CSAT. So what I'm saying is, if someone really does well in CLAT, I think that foundation will take care. So someone who is in 6th standard, 7th standard, 8th standard, you want to start preparation for something like this, for those IAS or CLAT, etc. I think these two things, GK, RRR, and ReadMark, if you can take care of them, I think that would be great.
That's golden words shared by you, sir. Golden words. Really, thank you so much. They badly need this at this hour. And so we will see if anybody has some more questions, sir. We are done with most of them. We're done with most of the questions. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us and for accepting our invitation and joining us and sharing so many, inputs and giving us many hints. And finally, I would like to end by asking you one more question, sir. Is like we are coming close to the CLAT 2020. So there are so many students who have applied. So what will be your last minute uh, advice to all the students who are nearing for their examinations, who are only dependent on online coaching as they don't have their classes going on, and also going through a lot of COVID situations in and around their places. So, what will be your maybe the last minute word to them, sir? The last question and the last word.
No, 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 I understand you. I think we spoke about long-term preparation. Now we are talking about last 30 days for those who are in the last 30 days. I think I can give one tip for sure. This is something that I want to tell those students who are hearing this. Like I just said, the 150 questions in 2 hours, there are 28, 30 passages that you need to read, like I said, right? But one hint, one trick I want to give to all of you, those who are in this webinar, is please understand that for GK at least, right, out of the 30 passages, GK will have at least 6, 7 passages. Okay. One hint I want to give you is don't read GK passages in the exam. Okay. This is a very controversial thing, but literally this can save you a lot of time. This is a trick I'm giving you from coaching, inside the coaching, I can tell you. A lot of students make this mistake. I tell my students. Why I'm saying this? Because unlike other areas where the answers are there in the passage, in English comprehension, in logical reasoning, legal reasoning, you have to connect with what is there in the passage. GK, what happens is, yes, there are a couple of questions which are asked from the passage, what is there, but a lot of questions are more not directly from the passage, but connected to the passage. In the sense, GK is one area, you just glance to the passage, do not spend amount of time in reading the passage. It can save you a lot of time. You have heard to this tip seriously, friends. You would have saved at least 10 to 15 minutes of yours. You can thank me for that. So 10, 15 minutes you can save by not reading GK passages in detail. That's one thing I can say. That's one ready tip for short-term students, Deepa, you wanted me to tell you.
Wonderful, wonderful.
One other thing I want to tell is all the students, please use this time. Yes, you whatever you have done, you have not done for the last many years different, but last 30, 40 days you have. Yes, whatever access you have, please try and get into some online classes like Deepa was asking. We have a lot of online classes. More importantly, take some tests. Please take some mock tests. Whatever is your preparation, doing mocks again and again, taking a mock test series, practicing it will enable you to increase your score. One other thing I want to tell you, Deepa, I think I've already told two things. One is GK, one is the mock test / online classes. The third thing I want to tell is, lot of students these days are very worried about their score not improving. For a 150, I'm scoring a 60, 40, 80, I'm not improving. Please understand, do not expect the marks to improve in a short span of time. But the bigger thing is, if you can take a mock test and identify, hey, I've got an 80. Believe me, you are getting an 80 score in mock test right now. It's a good score. You are in the line towards cracking CLAT. You just need another 20. You are in 60, you are a little 50-50. You need to work hard. If you're 40, please understand, CLAT is a little far away. You might have to look at the next rank schools. But having said that, the bigger thing for you to identify is whatever score you make, ask yourself, go into sectional analysis, and ask which section you are weak, which section you are strong, which section you need to kind of spend less time, which section you need to spend more time, which section you can avoid, which section you can take more preparation. Which, see, right now it is not a knowledge-based exam where you read something, you'll get concept. It's a skill-based exam. So do not expect yourself to, in 30 days you'll pick up a skill that is not there. The goal is to say, hey, you have to kind of get into those areas. Out of these 5 areas, there will be some you can capitalize where you are good at something. Do that more, practice that more, get bigger score on that, better score on that. And in the other areas, try to look at those areas which you can pick up. Understand that. That's what I'm going to say. Focus on the knowledge areas, not on the skill areas in these 30 days. That's what I can say.
So, thanks a lot. That was an excellent information by Naresh sir, and I think all the students will be benefited by this last advice of yours, because generally, as we thought, it's more in the passage which they have to search. They need to torch in the passage to get their answers. So it's no more required in GK, as you said. So thank you so much. That's really very nice of you to share that quick hint to all of us, sir. So thank you for joining, and thank you all the participants for being a part of this webinar. And thank you, sir. Thank you. You have anything to say to us, sir? Anything to say to our students?
No, I think I wish all the students who are writing CLAT this year all the very best, and those who are planning to think of CLAT for later years, like we said, pick up on those two things. and work hard. And I thank the Roots Collegium, Deepa and Padala Garu for inviting me. I'm very happy to kind of share whatever knowledge I have. I'll be happy to help students whenever possible. Students can always see. I'm usually active on Twitter. Twitter is a place I can reply. I'm not so much active on Facebook, but anyone has any questions, they can always reach out to me on Twitter. They can easily find me by name, and that's one thing I would want to say. And I look forward for Roots to do very well, and Abhyas Law Prep is definitely looking forward to support Roots 11th and 12th students to do well in the coming season. Yeah, working on that. And the online class have already started for all the courses. Do it, and whatever you need, you can always reach out to us. Thank you.
Yeah, mock tests in the new model is advised.
Absolutely.
Mock tests in the new model. Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. So we end the webinar here. Thank you all the participants. Thank you all once again.